Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream, welcome to the channel, welcome back to another video. What am I doing here? Well, I am continuing on the build of this guy right there. That is the 1/48 scale F-15E by Great Wall Hobbies. As you can see, I'm just finishing up doing a little bit of spray painting on the sprue. Yeah, and I'm just removing the masking tape. You guys saw in the first video last time that we were getting the cockpit assembled. So we're just going to continue on that now. So let's get started. Well, as you can see on here, I've used some Mr. Surfacer Black on my sprue as a primer, and I've hit some parts with some white. So we're getting prepared to continue on with our cockpit assembly. I have pre-painted and assembled our intake runners. Yay, woohoo! And forget I did that. Yeah, anyway, those are ready to be installed now. They basically went together pretty nice. Can't really complain too much about the seam lines inside. Yes, they're there. Do I really care? I care this much. I don't want them super noticeable, but I also don't care if they're perfect. So I do care a little bit. Okay, anyway, we have our cockpit here. And we're getting ready to continue with this guy. So let's go back to page 1. I have this opened up here. Back to page 1. So we got this all done. We got our little rods, our railings put in. We've got our panels replaced with the photo etched versions of them. And so let's see what's next. Now they want us to put in the seats, but I don't want to do the seats yet because I'm going to wait until I know how this plane is going to sit when I flip it upside down. I don't like having the plane when you're working on the bottom of it and you've got it sitting on your bench. I don't like it resting right on the tops of the seats, and so I want to wait to have them before I put them in. If it's some situation where I just can't get around that, then so be it, right? It's the way it goes sometimes. So but they're calling for the seats to be put in and the rear display panel, and it looks like our control stick W23. So let's find the W tree. Where is our W tree? What was this one? This one was X. Yes. So now I've got this painted black. When I put my felt on there and painted the X, I can't see it anymore. So now I kind of need to scratch my paint off if I want to see the X. Anyway, I need to find, what was the tree I needed? W, right? Yes, W. Where is W? Oh, right here, first one. So I need W23. 16, 17, 21, 22, 23. There's two of them. All right. Let's just do that for now. Just one. And two. Okay. I am noticing quite a few extra parts, or parts that I'm not going to be using, such as instrument panels. So there's the one I've used. Here, let me change the camera so you can see. I continued yesterday doing the photo etch on the display panels, or instrument panels. So I've got the pilots done and the Wizzo, or pilot and co-pilot, got them both done. So they are finished, ready to be installed. Okay. Nothing too special. You just take your file, you file off all the nicely engraved detail off of them, and then till you have a flat surface, and then you just glue these on. Pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated, and that's about it. So yeah, anyway, so we got but in doing so, the photo etched parts. Oh, one thing I noticed I was not doing in my videos, I talk about putting these photo etched pieces in, these Red Fox Studios cockpit pieces, and then I don't bother putting any info about them, which particular kit I'm adding to my builds. So in my last video, if you look down there in the comments, I let you know I used, this is the Edward kit, FE964, and then the seatbelt kit is 965, FE965, and I bought them directly from Edward's website, edward.com or something like that. I think it's just, that's all it is. But yeah, so I'm going to try and be a little bit more mindful and actually letting you guys know if you're going to build this kit, which one I'm using. If you want to do the exact same thing, I'm going to try and remember to do that kind of stuff for you guys, so you can actually purchase those exact same things and get a nice little walkthrough watching my video, right? So that's what I wanted to help you guys with. Anyway, so that's all done. These are finished. We've got more photo etch. This kit comes with the photo etch parts to put in the radar control boxes and replace all that with some really good detail if you want to do that. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to have these closed or open. I don't know yet. We'll see how that goes. I haven't made that decision yet because, well, honestly, I'm nowhere near there yet. Anyway, so we have our two little control sticks. They got to go in those two little holes. So I'm going to get some glue. Tempted to paint them black first. Doesn't really matter. Paint them first or last. Either way, they get painted. So the important thing is to not lose them to tweezer fire. So I want to grab onto them in such a way that they don't ping off of my tweezers, and I'm going to test fit them in the holes. And yeah, they're not going to fit out of that. With all the sanding that I did, I've kind of closed up these holes a little bit, so I just need to reopen them with my knife so that they will fit again. They are almost big enough. I could just use my fingers and not my tweezers. And honestly, I just might. Yeah, they stick in pretty good. Which direction are they supposed to go? They're supposed to face forward. I'm trying to put them in backwards, and I've again forgot to change my camera. I'm sorry. You guys who like to watch the detailed stuff, you know, on how to put these together. I know there are a lot of you that just kind of skip forward. And I also know that a good 80% of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. If you like watching this stuff, then why not subscribe? Just do it. Okay, there's one in. And that fit pretty good, so we're going to glue that one in. Done. Okay, our two control sticks are in, and now we have our Wizzo panel, I have test fit this a couple of times. It fits pretty snug in here. Just like that. It's a nice firm fit and it ain't going nowhere even without any glue. But, you know, we gotta glue it, so that's the law. The law is it's got to be glued in, no matter how tight the fit is. You have to glue it. So there we go. That's done. Okay. And there's still plenty of room to put the seat in. I have noticed, just in seat comparison from the resin seats that I'm going to be using compared to the kit seats sit a lot taller. If I match up the bottoms here, like that, you can see the kit seat sits, like the whole headrest is a lot taller in comparison. The width is, the kit seat is a little bit narrower at the bottom. So I haven't test fit this yet. So let's just take a look. Let's get this off of here. This is what happens when you leave blue tack for 2 weeks. Okay. Alright, so got that off there. No residue on my clip. Alright, let's do a little test fit. It almost looks like the seat might be too wide. I hope it's not too wide. It is a bit of a snug fit, but it fits. It actually sits lower than the railing, which is kind of strange. I don't think it's supposed to fit lower. So I might be gluing it to the railing rather than the floor of the cockpit. If I put in the kit seat, let's line that up. Is that supposed to? So it sits like that on the front. Is it actually sitting in the tabs? I don't think it is. There's a couple of little tabs that are supposed to lock in at the bottom, but they're not cooperating. So I'm just going to do this. Get rid of them. It's not going to affect anything, and I'm not using these anyway. So, okay, so there's how they're supposed to sit, and go down the railing. It's not, wow, now it's caught in there. Come on. There we go. Okay. That's as far down as it's going to go. And that lines up. The top basically is in the same line as the panels. As our, in this one it goes down further, but still, like the pull handle here is basically right at the same level as our gauges, right? This is just a little bit lower, and this basically just above. Okay, so we're going to use that as our guide. How far down is this supposed to sit? This wants to sit, well, I got it about level. It's about the same. It just visually looks like a much smaller seat, especially with the big rails. But I could push it down and I can get it a little bit lower if I want, but it actually is fine. And on the front, the actual pilot seat, it's about the same. It's about level. This little handle is just a little bit above, so that's good. Our emergency pull handles, they are right there. Sorry if you can't really see it too well, but that's how it is, and that looks pretty good. It just looks a little strange because this doesn't sit above the railings. It just makes it look like a tiny little seat, especially in the back. When I put that in there, and that sits lower, see how it's lower, or just barely. It just makes it look dwarfed a little bit in there. But anyway, that's that, and that's okay. The front is not blocking where the joystick comes up, so that is a very good thing. It doesn't sit higher than this, so I could actually glue this in. I could glue this in now, and I'd be okay. But I want to wait, because I'd actually be, if I was putting this one in, I'd be a little bit upset that I get this one lined up in here and that sits and that's where it goes, and then I go and try and put the front one in and it's sitting taller and doesn't want to go all the way down. It actually sits a little bit taller. You see that? And I'd be, just doesn't want to go no matter what I do. And looking down at everything is all lined up like it's supposed to. It's not because I've assembled it wrong. It's just doesn't go. So it would take a bit of cutting. If you wanted to use the kit seat, you either need to trim on the insides of these at the bottom rail, or you need to get inside on each side inside here and trim away to get that panel, because that thing needs to slide down. It's sitting like this and you need to get that little thing to slide down like this, right? How am I going to get that? It's like this, right? That's this part. This needs to sit down over top of this on each side, and that's what it doesn't want to do. It's like the tolerance is a little too tight here, and so the seat just won't go down. Good thing I don't have to worry about that, because I've got these seats. Okay, so we're not putting that seat in just yet though. The next thing we need to do is get our front landing gear bay assembled, and that's what I painted white. Let's put that there. These are the pieces that I painted white over here. I just finished painting them about maybe half an hour ago. So they should be nice and dry and ready for assembly. We'll build our little landing gear box. As you can see, more instrument panels that are not going to be used. Same with the cover at the front, at the nose, and in between. We've got another Wizzo panel here, right? The kit comes with a lot. Clearly, they're putting these in because they're using the same molds for different versions of the same plane, right? That's what that's all about. So that's why they do that. Sometimes in the instructions, when they show you the sprue list, they let you know certain ones that are not going to be used in the kit. Again, be careful with your knife, especially if you've got a brand new blade in there just like I do. You got to be careful when you're cutting, because you get used to the pressure required with an older blade. And then you use a new blade and you use that same pressure and you wind up cutting yourself pretty good. And I know from experience, you don't really want to be bleeding all over your model. You know, sometimes you cut yourself and you don't even notice it right away. You're not bleeding or anything. You think everything is fine. And so you just continue on. And 10 minutes later, you're wondering, why is this pink? What's going on here? Okay, so one thing you can do, since I have this already painted white, I'm going to take the opportunity to do some panel lining before I even put it together. That's a nice, easy way, cheating way, to do the detail on the inside when they give you this option. Sometimes they mold these things as a box already. And so you don't get the opportunity to do it like this. I like to use the black even in here because I think the black on the white of the white of this adds a good contrast. Because especially on the older planes, like an F-15 is basically an old plane right nowadays, and well, they're not exactly in pristine condition anymore, and so they get a lot of dirt in there, a lot of grime, and it can be buildup from a long time, right? Because the plane's been around a while. They're not new. I mean, you look inside the landing gear bay on a F-22, that's a whole nother story, right? Or an F-35 or something like that. That's a whole nother ballgame. Those things are still brand new planes in comparison, and yeah, you don't have to worry about that too much. Okay, even though the paint's still fresh, because I use flat white and I didn't put any clear coat on it, the paint kind of the panel liner kind of absorbs into that flat paint a little bit, so it's a little harder to clean up, which is why I'm chasing after it like right away, because it's going to be hard to clean. But at the same time, I don't mind so much. I don't care if it's hard to clean inside here, because this is meant to look dirty. I just don't want the big drops from my brush where I wasn't careful and where I, you know, all these little dots like this here and here. I don't want that, because that looks weird to me anyway. Okay, I think for cleanup, that's good enough for me. I don't need to clean up any more than that. So, let's start putting this together. So they show it like this, and we want this piece here with these slots lining up with these little notches. So how well do they fit together? Doesn't really fit at all. Sure, once I get it lined up there, at least I hope once I get it lined up there, it'll kind of snap in, but it doesn't really want to. There we go. Ah, it's almost like a snap fit. Wow. Okay. That was a much tighter fit than I expected on that. Which leaves me a little bit concerned about how much pressure I'm going to need to fit that in. I don't like how much pressure that takes. It's just a little bit too tight of a fit. There we go. Okay. So there's our two side walls. Let's get that glued together. That is an extremely tight fit, though, I tell you the what. Okay, so we got our three sides connected. Now we have this piece to go on the front with the curved piece, curved side down or to the open end. And that's a snug fit, but not too tight, so that's good. Glue that in. There we go. So there's our front landing gear bay. The box is assembled, and that gets put onto the bottom here. So with that facing the front, so we want the piece we just put on, that faces frontwards. And then we're going to line it up just like that. So we've got two pins here and here going in there and there. And that's a nice, good, solid fit. It's kind of funny that is that just me or is it off to one side? No, it shouldn't be to one side. It should be right dead center. Perfect. Okay. I'll use my thicker glue. There we go. Actually going to use a little bit more. I'm going to put some around the edge of it, and so that I'm not relying on just the pegs to hold that in. And it will fit. It'll sit there without being lined up on the pegs. So you got to be careful with that. Make sure your pegs are lined up. Alright, so there we go. That is together. Now that's one improvement over the Academy kit just right there. The Academy kit had an extremely thin little bar going across here, and it made it kind of flexible. This was a much more solid piece. I glued the Academy one down to the landing gear bay in order to keep this from breaking up into two pieces on me, and I wound up having to clamp it down to make sure it stayed. So I'm just making sure my alignment on this is correct. So when it comes time to actually put this in, these two here are going to line up here and here. So I want to make sure my alignment is good when I go to put this in. So it's going going to sit something like this. I want to make sure everything lines up in there. In fact, we'll just do a little test fit here to make sure I'm on track. Everything's lining up. It's going to sit together nice. That's good. There's no interference. That's a good fit so far. I like to try and do a test fit like this just to make sure my fuselage is going to go together without any hitch. Without a hitch. Sometimes I have a habit of not even doing this at all, and then I go to do it and I run into a big problem that I did not know I was going to have. Okay, so that part's done. So that, aside from the seats, this is finished. This page is done. Okay? Yeah, other than painting those. So let's get let's just flip our page over. So we're going to be putting in some more control sticks. Okay. So it looks like we need to grab our W again and our C tree. Okay, C and W. So we want W25, 13, and 33. Is this W? Nope, that's our C tree. So let's just start with C. We want C11 and 12. Those are our control sticks. 7, 8. Did I read that right? C12 and C11. Ah, up here. They actually look identical. There is no difference between 11 and 12. There's 11. And 12. And they are identical. There's no difference at all. No difference at all. They look identical. So it's not going to matter whether you put one in the front and one in the back. They're both the same. But I have them both primered, so I need to actually paint the bottom section of them gray. Looking through some of my gray paints, and I think, to me, as neutral gray, XF53, I think that's going to be a pretty good match for the actual color of the plastic, which is what I'm going to leave the cockpit that same color, just the same molded color. I think that's a pretty good match. Let's just grab a brush. I haven't actually tested my theory on how much of a match this is. I did shake this already, so let's just see. Paint that like that, and we'll let that sit for a minute. It actually, even just as it's drying, I can't even tell. Other than it's a little glossy, it looks like the exact same color. So let's just continue. I'm going to use that color on this. Just to make my life easier. And do that, so I've got something bigger to hold on to. Okay, so there's one done. So you guys get to listen to some crazy version of Thunderstruck by the two cellos. In the background, which just finished, so now I'm not talking, can't hear anything. Okay, so those are done. And yeah, that is a almost perfect match to the color of the plastic, so I like that. So if I want to leave the color the exact same, that's fine. Or if I need to touch something up in here, I can use this and it'll work. But I need to clean my brush, and I want to paint those black now, because getting in there, once I got this thing installed, getting in there to paint is going to be a bit of a challenge. Okay. I don't have any Tamiya black out, or even Mr. Hobby, so I'm going to use my Vallejo. To just paint these control sticks. Like I said, if I had painted these out before installing them, that would have been a little easier. But it's not the end of the world. You can still paint them like just as easily. Well, and let me rephrase that. It's not just as easy. I've got to be more careful. But they're now painted. There's other things that need to be painted on here too. One thing about Vallejo paints is they're very thick. Sometimes too thick for what I want to do. I want to paint the throttle control. It's always a lot easier to do this before you have a whole lot of things cluttering up your cockpit. There we go. Okay. I'm happy with that. That's good enough. What am I cleaning my brush with? This is just regular hot water. I like the hot water. It just does a little easier. Okay. So that's that. So Tamiya paint, of course, dries nice and fast. So these are going to be ready to be installed now. And they just go down into those little slots down there. So I'm going to pre-glue them. And I'm going to use different tweezers to hold on to them. And I'll do that, okay? All right. There's one. Okay. And we'll do the other one. And there we go. So I'm just going to do a quick little test on the front display. I want to make sure that I don't have interference on the joystick on the front. I'm going to have it lined up. There we go. Alright, so they're both lined up pretty good. And that's that. Okay. So, they're actually telling me to not put in the front one just yet. But I wanted to make sure that when I put that stick in there, it's not going to be interfering. Okay. So the other pieces we needed was W25, 13, and 33. So let's find the W. Here's my W. And we want 13, 25, and 33. Well, there's 33. Oops. I might as well take this off. So that's falling off. 33 is right here. It's their little oxygen tubes. Even on Tamiya's 1/32nd scale F-15, there was no oxygen tube. So there's 33. 33 goes on the back. There's 13. Very delicate little guys. There's 13 right there, and then we need 25. It's 30, 35, 19, 22, 27, 10, 9, 8, 3, 6, 12, 18, 16, 17, 20, 21, 25 is no longer on here. 23 and 25. Oh, because it's a joystick. I've already put it on. Duh. I already put 25 on the other page. Okay, fine. That's on me. Okay. Let's put this here for now. So 13 is going to go on the front, and it looks like it's just going to sit. It's just going to sit there. And same with 33. It's just going to kind of sit. They haven't got any specific just following the line down. There may have been a little notch cut in right here for the hose, but because I've got the photo etch piece on there, it's gone. So they don't really show exactly. And same with the front one. So it's maybe supposed to have been right here, but that's gone now. So we're basically just putting it down like that. and just let it sit there. And that's really all we're going to do. So I'm just going to use my thin set to put that down and have it sit like that. And we're going to do a similar thing with our front one. Just going to sit like that. But because the front one doesn't have, see, there's no photo etch under the back one here, so I can just glue that down to this and that's going to stay and I'm not going to have any issues. For the front, however, this is photo etch, this is photo etch. I can't actually glue it down to the plastic. There's kind of a little corner there, but I think the seat might interfere if I try and put the seat in with it there. If I try and put our seat in, yeah, it's going to be in the way. In fact, it's sticking to the seat right now. So that means I have to glue it with CA glue. Glue it down to the photo etch, which is not a problem, it's just an extra thing to do. So let's glue, make sure our lids are tight, and let's get our CA glue out. Bingo, got that. Get some CA. Okay. All right, so I know roughly where it's got to be glued. So let's get my applicator. I need a drop here. And I need a drop here. There we go. That's it. Just a little bit more, just for added security, you know? There we go. I'm happy with that. Now, because the glue is slow, I don't like to spray this stuff. I prefer to just let it drop. Go on it. Blow it dry and it's good. There we go. So we've got our two little hoses on. people are in my chat and they're chatting me up like crazy. It's so awesome. This is why I do this stuff live. You guys should follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch and then you can watch me live and do this stuff. Okay, so these are done. This is all installed now. So now we got to do this part. So we got to get X9 and X14. We got to find our X tree. Oh, that's this little one. Yes, our X tree. So we want X9 and 14. 14 is this little bar here. Here's 14. And there's 9. Again, be careful with your very sharp knife. Be very mindful of it. Alright, so you're going to take this, and 14 goes across the top. Okay, 2 little notches, one here and here. There we go. That's installed. And now, facing this the right way, this goes down over top on here. Just like so. Now I notice there's a lot of stuff that's visible underneath there. I think I should probably paint in here black. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Again with my Vallejo. Basically, it will be impossible to get in here and paint only this black later. So, I better get this done now. In case you're wondering, like, holy crap, you're putting it on so thick. Are you crazy? Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? It's underneath everything and it's not going to be seen too much. I just want to make sure it's black like it's supposed to be and it's hidden, and that's good. And that's really all I care about. Quick and dirty painting, that's just to get it done, because it doesn't matter. Okay. Now when I set this down over top, line up those little pegs, the black under there is black like it's supposed to be. So yeah, I'm happy with that. There we go. Perfect. Done. And our final step is to install our front. Now that I've put the bottom on here, I can't glue this. Oh, yes, I can. I can get him right there. Never mind, never mind. So, let's reinstall our front instrument panel. There we go. No, not quite. It's not wanting to line up because the photo etch is actually sitting lower than the plastic. So that just means I need to use a little bit more glue. The pegs don't sit in, they don't seat fully. That's the only thing. The pegs are just kind of touching. And not allowing it to sit all the way down. So, in hindsight, that might come back to bite me. Because, I'll try and show you on the camera here. If you can see that little gap right there on each side. So that means this is now sticking up by that much. It's not sitting all the way down like it's supposed to. And because it's doing that, that means it might not. I might have to shave some off the top across here when I go to install the cover for this panel. So that might come back to haunt me later. Right now, I don't know, but it might. So I'll have to wait until that time comes. I'll just have to wait. The next step is going to be putting on our side pieces on each side here, dink and doink, but I've got some painting to do on the inside of them because they are now, right now, they're just covered in black primer. And that's the last piece of the cockpit to put together, is each side panel. But that's going to be waiting until next time. Okay, I want to wait before I actually put those side panels in, because I need to do some detail painting on them. I think there are some photo etch. There might be, yeah, there's a couple of photo etch pieces to put on the inside. So I need to put those on, those panels. I need to paint the inside of them gray first. What are we here? X3 and 18. So off of our X tree. So it's these two here. So I need to repaint these gray because, yeah, ironically, I didn't do the outside of them in the primer, I did the inside. So I need to do that. Get those painted gray and then add the photo etch to them and then put them on. But that's gonna have to wait until next time. We're just gonna have to wait, guys, because I gotta get going. And so that's gonna be it for now, and that'll be it for today. So let's shut that off. So that's it for our little cockpit for today anyway. We're almost done. Almost. Yeah, so that's that. We'll just set that there, and we will leave that for now until next time. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. Thank you for supporting me on YouTube. You guys are really awesome, and I really appreciate it. That's really good. Check out in my description box below and you'll see some links that I put down there. Links to my Twitch and my Instagram. The two most common things that I use. Twitch, of course, I go on live and I broadcast this stuff. And you can watch me live on Twitch. If you follow me on Twitch, you'll get an email notification when I go live. You can come on and watch me, and you can comment and you can talk to me and watch me do this stuff live and talk to me live if you so choose. Otherwise, just continue to support me on YouTube and watch me on there, and hit that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Head on over to my Instagram and you can check out pictures of other builds that I've done and see if you like my stuff. Anyway, as I keep saying, thank you guys for watching and thanks for coming out. And yeah, until next time, well, we'll see you all in the next one.